Hello, and welcome back to another video on this channel. Today we're going to be answering the question, what would have happened if RuPaul's Drag Race Season 4 winner wasn't competing? This season was probably one of my favorite seasons, and the winner obviously had a really good edit, but as we know, she isn't that good of a person. Without further ado, let's get into it. So, in the first episode, it was a RuPaul's design challenge, and someone else has to win, since originally the win went to Sharon. In the top, we originally had the Princess and LaShawn Beyond, and in my opinion, LaShawn was definitely second, which means now she is going to win the challenge. The Princess did pretty good, and I agree with her placing high. The other queen, who I think deserves to be in the top, is Milan. I really enjoy her dress, and it's definitely giving post-apocalyptic. The makeup is also outstanding. It was a good night for her. I did not change anything in the bottom three. Kenya's outfit wasn't great, but I really liked the wings, and she overall did better than Jiggly and Elisa. Elisa's look wasn't great, and Jiggly's also wasn't great, but at least Jiggly's outfit was memorable. I can't put into words how much I miss her. Jiggly was a true superstar and will forever be remembered. So it's time for the lip sync, and Jiggly really embodied the song, which means Elisa Summers is still gonna go home first. She became one of the most forgotten queens from the franchise, which is unfortunate, because I rewatched Season 4 recently, and although she didn't got much screen time, she seemed nice. Bring her back for all stars. Now we will be moving on to one of the wildest challenges in Drag Race history, the wrestling challenge. So technically, since LaShawn won the challenge one episode earlier, she should have had immunity, but I decided to get rid of immunities since I don't think it was a good idea. Originally, it was the double win between Chad Michaels and Madame LaQueer, but I think Chad should have won it on her own. Madame did good, but she wasn't as good as Chad or even Kenya. Originally, it was one high team, and the other two were being judged as individuals, which was a bit weird. I decided to judge them individually, and I ended up giving the win to Chad Michaels, and in the top we have Madame and Kenya Michaels. Kenya did such a good job in this challenge. Her energy was there, her charisma was there. I think it's her best episode. Dita Ritz is still going to be low because of her runway, and her performance was not the strongest. However, the clear bottom two from this challenge are the Princess and LaShawn Beyond. They both seemed nervous and reserved. It just wasn't their best showing. Now it's time for the lip sync, and LaShawn Beyond is going to be a shocking elimination, since she just won one episode before. To be honest, maybe she would have stayed if she didn't take off her shoes at the beginning of the song. If you do it, you better take us to church, 'cause if you don't, you are in trouble. They were both pretty even in the performance, so I kept Princess, which unfortunately means we have to say goodbye to LaShawn Beyond. She was really sweet though, but it just wasn't her time. When Willem and Alaska were reviewing Season 4, Willem said that LaShawn said she did drag like 6 times before, which was actually crazy and low-key surprising. Alright, so now it's time for Episode 3, where the queens had to produce and act in TV infomercials for RuPaul's albums Glamazon and Champion. Once again, the winner has to be different, since Sharon ended up winning the challenge, and honestly I have no idea how. Her performance was fine, but RuPaul said it was supposed to be funny, and hers wasn't funny. Maybe for someone it was, but for me it wasn't. In the top we had Kenya and Chad, which I do agree with, since both of them did really good. However, I think Fifi O'Hara deserved to win that challenge. She was the funniest in my opinion, plus her runway look was good, so I decided to give her the win. As for the bottoms, as you can see we have the first change in the elimination order. Originally, in the bottom two we had Dita Ritz and the Princess. However, I decided to put Princess low and LaQueer in the bottom with Dita. I actually liked Dita's idea for the character, but the execution wasn't there, and her runway look also was not the best. Neither LaQueer or the Princess excelled in this challenge, and I'd say they both were equally bad, so I used runway as a tiebreaker, and Princess's outfit was definitely better than LaQueer's. So this time it's going to be a battle between Dita and Madame. This was one of, if not the best lip sync in Drag Race history. Honestly, it probably is my favorite lip sync of all time, since Dita Ritz absolutely destroyed it and left no crumbs. There's no one who can beat Dita Ritz to the song This Will Be. It was truly phenomenal. And why the freak wasn't she on All Stars yet? She wants to do it, and people have been asking for her to return for a long time. Bring her back, World of Wonder. She is a true legend. So, yeah, Dita obviously won the lip sync, which means we have to say goodbye to Madame La Queer, and we'll be moving on to the next episode, in which they had to star in 2 different episodes of a sitcom in teams. There's no other winner than Latrice. She did great. Get those nuts away from my face. Girl, it never gets old. They were being judged as teams, so I kept that the same, which means all queens from Team Willem are in the top. Madame La Queer went home this episode, but in this scenario she's already gone, and the princess is still in the competition. I don't see her succeeding in this challenge, so I decided to put her in the bottom. Dita was definitely the best in the losing team, so she's gonna be safe. Originally, Milan ended up in the bottom too, however I decided to put her low, since she literally had 2 lines and yes, she wasn't great, but neither was Kenya. Once again, it came down to the runway, and in my opinion Milan was stronger on the runway, so she's gonna be low, and Kenya is gonna send Princess home. So now it's time for episode 5, which was the Snatch Game. It was kind of a car crash, but thankfully Chad, Willem, Latrice, and one other person saved it. Latrice was originally safe, however since that one person isn't there, Latrice is gonna be in the top. I think she broke the character for a moment, but I would be mad too. And overall her performance was really solid, so I decided to put her high with Willem. Willem's Jessica Simpson was incredible, and I think arguably she could have won the challenge, but I kept Chad as the winner. She was very professional and very prepared. Definitely a deserved win. Dita Ritz was fine, and she was literally sitting in the middle of the storm, so props to her as well. Fifi, Jiggly, Milan, and Kenya all bombed, and it was hard to watch. Out of the 4, I do agree Jiggly was the least bad, so I kept her safe by default. Fifi O'Hara is still gonna be low, which means in the bottom 2 we have Kenya Michaels and Milan. As you can see, no one went home this episode, since both of them did amazing in this lip sync. If only one person had to stay, I do agree with Milan staying over Kenya, but since we have one less contestant this time around, it needs to be a double save at some point. And it's going to happen now. That means they both survived the lip sync, and it's time for yet another weird challenge, the boat design challenge. They had to create and wear a parade float based on a color of the pride flag. So Willem originally won that challenge, which was obviously correct. Her boat was pretty. Her boat was the best. Oh my god, I love Willem. Basically, I kept almost all placements the same, with one exception. Originally, Dita Ritz was low, but since Kenya Michaels is there in this scenario, I decided to keep Dita safe and put Kenya in the low spot. Dita's boat was okay. There was not much going on though, but I think Kenya would do worse, considering the fact that she placed low in the last design challenge. Fifi and Latrice are still in the top, cause they did a really good job. I kept Jiggly and Milan in the bottom too, since both of them didn't really do a good job. They lip-synced to Born This Way by Lady Gaga, and Jiggly once again slayed the lip-sync, which means we have to say goodbye to London, Paris, Milan. Let me tell you, Milan is a really good performer, and her lip-syncs were really good. If she only kept her wigs on, it would be even better. We're down to the top 7, and it's time for the Dragazines challenge. Originally, 2 queens were low, and 1 was high, but I decided to put 2 queens high, as usual. The win went to Fifi, which was totally understandable. She looked really cool, and I do agree with the result. How well would Kenya Michaels do in this challenge? The answer is I have no idea, but I don't think she would be in the bottom, cause it wasn't a good night for Latrice, Willem, and Jiggly. I don't think Latrice's magazine cover was on theme, but I guess it was a little bit. Jiggly's was fine, but there was almost nothing going on, so I kept her in the bottom with Willem. Willem said it herself, she hated her magazine cover, and if you want to hear more about it, go and listen to Race Chaser, where she spills more tea about what was happening behind the scenes. I kept Chad Michaels safe, and I decided to put Kenya and Dita high. I actually think Dita did really good, and I'm surprised she was originally safe and not in the top. Little Kenya Michaels originally was not there this episode, but I think she would be able to come up with something cool, so that is why I decided to put her high. Willem and Jiggly lip-synced to La Vida Loca, and it was probably the worst lip-sync of the season, but they changed the song last minute, so that's why it was bad. But yeah, Willem wins, and Jiggly is eliminated. In the top 6, they were split into pairs and had to do a live singing performance. I kept all pairs the same and just put Kenya with Fifi. Latrice and Willem destroyed that challenge, and there was no other contender for the win this episode. Their performance was really funny and entertaining. I really enjoyed it. Dita and Chad were like fine, I guess, and definitely better than Sharon and Fifi. This time Fifi is paired with Kenya, but I don't think they would do a better job than Dita and Chad, so they're still going to be in the bottom 2, however it is Willem's stepping point. She wanted to be disqualified sooner or later, and as she said in the podcast, it was a perfect time, so for that reason she's going home, which means Fifi and Kenya are saved. And it is time for the political debate challenge. Once again, the winner has to be different, and I decided to give it to Latrice Royale. Originally, she ended up in the bottom 2, probably because they needed someone to send Dita home, but she did pretty well. I hate to say it, but Sharon was the only one who actually did good in this challenge, so the win was definitely deserved, but since she is not here right now, I had to choose between Chad and Latrice. I don't think Chad Michaels did that great. She was serviceable, but it was not that good in my opinion. Latrice's performance also was not the best, but they both had some funny moments, and when Latrice said this sentence about Fifi O'Hara being ugly, and she's at peace with that, I died. So since Sharon is not here, the win is going to go to Latrice, and Chad is still going to be high, which leaves Fifi O'Hara, Kenya Michaels, and Dita Ritz in the bottom 3. Fifi was originally low, which was definitely not correct, since she absolutely flopped. I know she is not racist, and it was just a character she played, but it wasn't funny at all, so she is going to be lip-syncing. Dita ended up going home this episode, but this time it's not going to be the case. She wasn't good, and you can tell she was really nervous, but I don't think Kenya would do a good job in this challenge. English is not her first language, and while I do think she would do better than Fifi, I still think she would struggle, and also Dita's runway look was one of her best looks from this season. So I decided to put Dita low, which leaves Fifi O'Hara and Kenya Michaels in the bottom 2. It would be a close call, but I mean, it's definitely Kenya's time. I don't know if you noticed, but she was a part of 2 double shantays in this scenario. So yeah, Kenya is eliminated, and we have our top 4 of Dita, Latrice, Chad, and Fifi. I'm just gonna skip the makeover challenge, especially because it was one of the weirdest concepts in Drag Race history, so we're gonna go straight to the ball. Dita Ritz would be in the bottom 2 this episode, and that's for sure. Latrice, Fifi, and Chad all did well, and Dita's design look from episode 1, or her boat was not great, and there's no way she would do better than any of the remaining queens. Chad and Latrice originally placed in the bottom 2 for this challenge, but I do not agree with Chad Michaels being there. Her looks were nice, especially the third look. It looked really cool. At the end I decided to give Chad the win since I did not like Fifi's final look. It was definitely the weakest one from this category. I really liked her first 2 looks, and that is why I decided to put her high. I kept Latrice in the bottom 2, since even though her last look was really nice, I wasn't a fan of her first 2 looks. So Dita and Latrice will be lip-syncing, and it is Dita's time to go. She didn't have any challenge wins, plus Latrice originally sent her home as well, just a little bit earlier. So we have to say goodbye to Dita, and we have our top 3, and it's time to crown the winner. As we know, Fifi was never going to win. Her behavior throughout the season was really questionable. The winner of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 4 is Chad Michaels. That's what should have happened originally. Chad did great this season, and I'm happy she ended up winning All Stars, but I do think she deserved to win her original season. Congratulations to Chad Michaels. And that's it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.